Changes that seem small and unimportant at first will compound into remarkable results if you're willing to stick with them for years. In the long run, the quality of our lives often depends on the quality of our habits. With the same habits, you'll end up with the same results, but with better habits, anything is possible. If you can get 1% better each day for 1 year, you'll end up 37 times better by the time you're done. What starts as a small win or a minor setback accumulates into something much more. Habits are the compound interest of self-improvement, the same way that money multiplies through interest. Habits seem to make little difference on any given day, and yet the impact they deliver over the months and years can be enormous. It is only when looking back 2, 5, or perhaps 10 years that the value of good habits and the cost of bad ones become strikingly apparent. Success is the product of daily habits, not once-in-a-lifetime transformation. What matters is whether your habits are putting you on the path towards success. You should be far more concerned with your current trajectory than with your current results. Time magnifies the margin between success and failure. It will multiply whatever you feed it. Good habits make time your ally. Bad habits make time your enemy. Habits are a double-edged sword. Bad habits can cut you down just as easily as good habits can build you up. The more tasks you can handle without thinking, the more your brain is free to focus on other areas. Learning one new idea won't make you a genius, but a commitment to lifelong learning can be transformative. Bamboo can barely be seen for the first 5 years as it builds extensive root systems underground before exploding 90 feet into the air within 6 weeks. Habits often appear to make no difference until you cross a critical threshold and unlock a new level of performance. In the early and middle stages of any quest, there is often a valley of disappointment. It's a hallmark of any compounding process. The most powerful outcomes are delayed. All big things come from small beginnings. The seed of every habit is a single tiny decision. If you want better results, then forget about setting goals. Focus on your system instead. Goals are good for setting a direction, but systems are best for making progress. If successful and unsuccessful people share the same goals, then the goal cannot be what differentiates the winners from the losers. Fix the inputs, and the outputs will fix themselves. When you fall in love with the process rather than the end product, you don't have to wait to give yourself permission to be happy. The purpose of setting goals is to win the game. The purpose of building systems is to continue playing the game. True long-term thinking is goal-less thinking. Ultimately, it is your commitment to the process that will determine your progress. Bad habits repeat themselves again and again, not because you don't want to change, but because you have the wrong system for change. You don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems. Behind every system of actions are a system of belief. It is hard to change your habits if you never change the underlying beliefs that led to your past behavior. The more pride you have in a particular aspect of your identity, the more motivated you'll be to maintain the habits associated with it. Once your pride gets involved, you'll fight tooth and nail to maintain your habits. Improvements are only temporary until they become part of who you are. You are not born with your present beliefs. Every belief, including those about yourself, is learned and conditioned through experience. The most practical way to change who you are is to change what you do. If you keep casting the same votes you've always cast, you're going to get the same results you've always had. Your habits shape your identity, and your identity shapes your habits. It's a two-way street. The focus should be on becoming the type of person, not getting a particular outcome. You need to know who you want to be, otherwise your quest for change is like a boat without a rudder. You have the power to change your beliefs about yourself. Your identity is not set in stone. You have a choice in every moment. Building better habits isn't about littering your day with life hacks. Fundamentally, habits are not about having something, they're about becoming someone. Habits reduce cognitive load and free up mental capacity so you can allocate your attention to other tasks. Habits do not restrict freedom, they create it. People who don't have their habits handled are often the ones with the least amount of freedom. Building habits in the present allows you to do more of what you want in the future. The purpose of every habit is to solve the problems you face with as little energy and effort as possible. By the time we become adults, we rarely notice the habits that are running our lives. We underestimate how much our brains and bodies can do without thinking. You are much more than your conscious self. The more automatic a behavior becomes, the less likely we are to consciously think about it. We're so used to doing what we've always done that we don't stop to question whether it's the right thing to do at all. One of our greatest challenges in changing habits is maintaining awareness of what we are actually doing. All habits serve you in some way, even the bad ones, which is why you repeat them. The first step to changing bad habits is to be on the lookout for them. Many people think they lack motivation when what they really lack is clarity. No behavior happens in isolation. Each action becomes a cue that triggers the next behavior. Customers will occasionally buy products not because they want them, but because of how they are presented to them. Be the designer of your world and not merely the consumer of it. The people with the best self-control are typically the ones who need to use it the least. A genius is not born, but is educated and trained. We don't choose our earliest habits, we imitate them. The closer we are to someone, the more likely we are to imitate some of their habits. Surround yourself with people who have the habits you want to have yourself. You'll rise together. If you no longer expect smoking to bring you any benefits, you have no reason to smoke. Your habits are modern-day solutions to ancient desires, new versions of old vices. Your current habits are not necessarily the best way to solve the problems you face. They are just the methods you learned to use. Distraction is a good thing because you need distractions to practice meditation. Sometimes motion is useful, but it will never produce an outcome by itself. It's easy to be in motion and convince yourself that you're making progress. The most effective form of learning is practice, not planning. Redesign your life so that actions that matter most are also the actions that are easiest to do. Even when you know you should start small, it's easy to start too big. When you dream about making change, excitement inevitably takes over and you end up trying to do too much too soon. The best way to break a habit is to make it impractical to do. The problem isn't knowledge, the problem was consistency. Pleasure teaches your brain that a behavior is worth remembering and repeating. What is rewarded is repeated. What is punished is avoided. To get a habit to stick, you need to feel immediately successful, even if it's in a small way. The first mistake is never the one that ruins you. It is the spiral of repeated mistakes that follows. Missing once is an accident. Missing twice is the start of a new habit. Genes do not determine your destiny. They determine your areas of opportunity. Genes can't make you successful if you're not doing the work. Professionals stick to the schedule. Amateurs let life get in the way. The holy grail of habit change is not a single 1% improvement, but 1,000 of them. Small habits don't add up, they compound. That's the power of atomic habits. Tiny changes, remarkable results.